Okay. Now let's resume. Now we are going to talk about while. What is while now? This is another way of repeating your codes in the C programming, but with while, this one is used when the loop should continue as long as a condition is true. Now from here, the condition should do continue as long as the condition is the condition is true. So you may not know in advance how many times this program will run. Remember, in for loops, we know that, for example, the program will be repeating until it reaches a specific condition. From there, you know exactly how many times you will be repeating the same condition. But with while this repetition, with while, you are not aware. You may not know. Okay, you may not know in advance how many times the program will be repeating. That is the difference between while and for. Now the syntax is simple. We have while is a keyword, then we set a condition which will be fulfilled for this code to be executed. Okay, now let's see, for example, a program. This is a program which will be printing from 1 up to 10, but here we'll be using while loop. Okay, of course it starts with the header file, okay, which allows us to enter or to output. Then it have a main method. This is int main, whereby all the statement which will be displayed will be inside here. Now within this program we have int I. I is a variable. We are initializing the counter. This one will be used in initializing the counter, will be using I within the condition statement here in while loop. Okay, now we have a variable which is initialized. We are initializing this I with 1. It will be starting from 1. Now while looping will be starting here. We use keyword while, then we specify a condition, then we provide an output. An output is that this variable will be counted until it is less or equal to 10. Of course, at each looping or at each repetition, the variable will be increased by 1. That's why we have increment of I by 1 to avoid infinite looping. Okay, this is a statement. Okay, now let us copy this to our compiler. This is a compiler. Okay, once as I explained, this is the variable. Okay, we are initializing the counter by this variable, and then the looping will be starting from here. While the variable is less or equal to 10, the program will be printing that number by incrementing the number by 1. Okay, that is how while works. Okay, my computer now starts. It is very slow. Okay, I think I have to restart my computer, but it will work. Okay, it is taking too much time to run the queries, but as you can see, it is looping. It is looping my numbers from 1 up to 10. Now we're going now to practice. Let us practice now. We're going now to write a program which will be summing. Okay, a program to sum numbers using while. Okay, we're going to write a program using while. Okay, we are starting with always, we start with, we have the header file, we have the main function. We are starting now with the variables. What are the variables? If we are to add, we have to provide a sum variable. Of course, we will be starting by providing int I. This is the counter, which will be an integer, and then we have to provide the sum. Sum will be initiated by 0 to avoid any mismatching answers. Then from there we use while to set a condition. Then the condition will be I. This is our counter, which will be less or equal to a specific number, like 5 or 10. Then we want to print the sum of these numbers. Now, how do we print the sum? Of course, we use plus equal. Then we indicate the variables that we have created. So from here, this statement will be adding. It will add our I to the sum. It will add our I to the sum, okay, and then we want it to be incremented by 1. Be incremented by 1. This means at each repetition, our variable here will be increased to 1 until the condition is met or is fulfilled. Okay. Then from here, what will be the output? We want our output to be the sum. The sum is equal. Then because we have an integer, we use a percentage %d. For integers, we use percentage %d /n. And then here we provide the variable where we will be storing our memory. Okay, if we run this program, my computer is somehow slow, you will have to bear with me. It will indicate that the sum of my number is 5, I mean 15. How now this works? Okay, how this works? Let me bring back my pointer to explain this. We have initialized our variable we have set 2 variables, as you can see. We have set 2 variables, and then we have been identifying the condition which is needed for our sum to work. Okay, now how this works? This counter will always start by 1. Okay, this means we will start with 1. Then this one will be incremented because we have I plus plus, okay, to 2. Then we will have 1 plus 2, which is equal to 3. Okay, then it will be incremented to 3, and this number will be added to the sum. That's why we are having plus equal to y. The sum we will have now 3 plus 3, which is equal to 6. We will increment again, or we will repeat. Now we have 4. Then 4 will be added to 6. We will be having 6 plus 4, which is equal to 10. Then we will increment it again. We will increment again to 5 because the condition is saying that I will be less or equal to 5. Then we will have 5 plus 10 plus 5, which is equal to 2, which is equal to 15. Okay. Now this is now the answer. We not go above 5. We cannot have 6. Why? Because our condition is specific. The condition is to say that our counter, which is I, will be less or equal to to 5. That's why this one will not be counted. So once this condition is stopped, the program or the computer will display that the sum is equal to 15. Okay, this is what we have. This is what we have here. Okay, the sum is 15. Okay, now if I change this 5 maybe to 3, if I say that the condition is that our counter will be ending, or the condition will stop from where our counter will be less or equal to 3. This means we will be having I if I is equal to 1. Okay, we will loop again. Okay, this one will be incremented and it will be 2. Okay, then remember we are having sum which is equal to plus equal to 1. This means we will be adding 1 plus 2, and then we have 3. Okay, then we will increment again. 2 will be 3 because we have I plus down here. Then we will get 3 plus 3, which will be 6. Okay, now we cannot go beyond 3. We cannot say that we will loop up to 4 because 4 is not fulfilling our condition. Now if we run this program, the program will tell us that the sum is equal to 6, as you can see. Now let's do now another exercise, which now will be calculating the sum of numbers from 1 up to, but by the way, this is what we have done. Or we can even use another one, which can, for example, print numbers from 1 up to 10, or which can print the one from 10 up to 9. This can be an exercise, a good exercise, by the way. Let me give you another exercise whereby we're going to write, for example, a program that can compute the factorial of number. We remember we have used the factorial of a number using 4. Now I want now to write a program. Okay, I want now to write a factorial program, a program that compute factorial using while. Remember we have used 4, but we can also use while to calculate the factorial of a specific number. Of course, we will be starting with the declaration of the variables. The first one is the number. The second one is the factorial, which is initialized, of course, to avoid any error. And then we have our counter, which is I. Okay. Then from there, because we will be setting a condition, we have to initialize also our counter to 1. Okay. And then from there we will ask a user to enter a specific number by providing a printf statement, whereby we set the word which will be displayed to the console. Please enter any number. We are asking the user to insert a number. Then we will be allowing him to or her to use this to input the number by providing a scanf statement, %d. Then this will be stored in a memory. This number will be stored in a memory that we have created here, num. Okay, semicolon. Then we now set a condition. Okay, we use while. Then from there, from while we set a condition. What is a condition? A condition is that our counter, which is I, will be less or equal to the number that a user will be providing. And then we want us to calculate now the factorial which will be to fact, that this is the a variable that we have created above, and this variable will be multiplied by I as long as the program is working, and we will need also our counter to be incremented by 1 on each iteration that the computer will be running. Okay, then we will be printing we will be displaying, of course, the factorial of a number, which is the first number. The first number is D, okay, equal to the percentage D slash N. Now, what will be the variables? The first variable which will be stored here is a number that the user have generated. And then what will be the output here? The output here will be the factorial, which is the fact, which will be calculated at each stage. Okay, and then we run our program. The program is asking us to enter a number. Let me put 5. If I run the program, the output will be now the program is the computer is very slow now. I have to restart my computer for sure, but the program is okay. I don't have an error. If I can check factorial, okay, yeah, I don't have an error. This requires me to copy again and restart my editor, my compiler. Oh la la. Okay, or I can run online. I run it online, but let me use another. Okay, so file new, then I paste. Oh la la, I have not. Let me try to see if I have saved. I have saved it. Where is my program? Can you see if I had saved it? Yes, num fact. Let me run it again. Please add any number. 5. The factorial is yeah, it is working for sure. Now that is how we use a while loop. Okay, we have to initialize the variable which are needed. We have to ask a user to insert a specific number. Then we set a looping statement whereby we initialize our counter, which is I. We set a condition. The counter will always be less or equal to the number that the user have generated, and at each step the process will be repeated until this condition is met. Okay, then we multiply our factor always by I. That's why we have this answer. Okay, so that is while. Okay, now we want to see now this is another exercise which you can do yourself. Write a program that calculates the sum of numbers from 1 up to 50 using while loop. Okay, now let me see the last loop statement, which is called do while. Now do while, what is do while? Do while now is similar to while, but it is executed. It executes only the block of. It should execute the block of at least one statement before it check the condition. Okay, it is similar to while, but within do while loop, we have to execute at least a block of code before checking the condition. Now the syntax is this: do, we have to execute first of all a condition, a specific condition, and then we will go to, we have to first of all to execute a specific block of statement, and then we have to check the condition. Okay. The difference is that do while is different from while, because here you are repeating the condition even if you don't know how many times you will repeat. Okay. Now this one is somehow similar to the while, but here we have to do what? To execute at least a block of code before checking whether the condition is true or false. That is an example. Okay, we have an example whereby we have a variable which is called the num. We have to first of all to display this statement before checking the variables. Before checking the condition. Now, what this program is saying, this program is taking a user input until the user enters a 0. If a user is entering a number which is different from 0, the condition will keep running. So, okay. Now, printf, okay, do we have this is a variable. This one is a variable. We have defined a variable. Okay, then we are stating the condition. The do. We need our program to print this statement before checking the condition. What is the condition? The condition is that the number here will be different from 0. The number will be different from 0. Now, a user will be entering the numbers until he or she enters a value which is equal to 0. Now, if the numbers are not zeros, or if the numbers are different from 0, the program will keep running until the user is requested to enter 0. Okay? Now, how does it work? Okay, this is as I said, this is a variable. Okay, within do while, a program have to do what? Have to print at least a statement before checking that the statement condition is there or not. Okay, bivuze yuko tuzakomeza gutekinga condition hano, ariko ahani iyi do while itandukanye na while loop, iyo igomba kudisplayinga statement byanga bikunda mbere yuko itekereza kuba yagira gute yajya kureba condition. Okay, so nari kubabwira yuko ahani do while itandukanye na while, nuko ahangaha ikingenzi nuko mugomba kumenya igitandukanye while na do while. Icyambere nuko while ntago ubuzi inshuro uzarepeatinga muri programme yawe condition runaka, ariko muri for ho ubuyizi. Muri for ubuzi ngo nzasubiramo iyi statement inshuro 10, 100, 200 cyangwa kangahe. Mu gihe muri while ntago ubuzi neza igihe uzarepeatingira iki cyangwa se inshuro uzarepeatinga iyo condition. Now, iyo ni difference between for and while. Muri for ubuzi neza, you know exactly how many times you will repeat the condition. While you are repeating a condition, but you don't know exactly the number of time that will be repeating the same condition. Okay, we have now while and do while. The difference between while and do while, aho bitandukana ni hehe? Muri while ntago ubuzi, of course ntago ubuzi igihe uzagira gute uzarepeating, yani mpamvu urakora program yawe, do your program ikaraninga, ariko utazi ngo izarangira ryari iraraninga. Now do while now here muri do while tuba tuzi ko you are sure that your program will run a specific, ni ukuvuga ngo izaraninga statement runaka niyo yaba itarajya kureba kuri condition washyizemo. It will be running a statement before checking that you have specified a specific condition. Example that I gave here, this is an example whereby we are declaring a variable which is called num. Okay, then we want do what? This statement will be printed even if we are not yet ready to check this is condition, because this is a condition, but this statement will be printed before checking the condition. Uvuga ngo iza displaying no condition, no iza displaying ibitwaye hano hejuru ibone kujya gute gucheckinga condition it was settings hano as. Now this program will be asking a user to enter a number and 0 to stop. This means if a user is not entering 0, the program will keep running until a user enters 0 to stop the program. Now user izajya imusaba kujya gute gushyira mu mubare. Okay, i-checking niba ihita displaying umubare, nimara ku displaying i-checking uyu mubare, niba ari 0 izahita ihagarara 0 to stop. Niba ari umubare utari 0 izakomeza ikora iki, ikore statement yo hejuru. Okay, urugero reka turunning, let's run this program and see. Okay, enter a number or 0 to stop. I just used 4. If I click this, the program will tell me you entered the 4. You entered for this is statement. You entered the number is displayed. Okay, then I put like 8. You entered 8. It is displaying the output 9. You entered 9. Minus 9. You entered minus 9. Minus 0. It stops because minus 0 or 0, the program counts that as 0. Okay, yes, this means this condition will be checked after the first statement. The first statement should always be there. Okay, then you will be displaying the output until you meet a specific condition, and if that condition is met, this is how you will be stopping from looping. Okay, now we want now to write a program that can, for example, ask a user to display a multiplication of numbers. So in secondary school we have Mara. We used to have Mara calculation. 2 times 1 equal to 2. 2 times 2 equal to 4. 2 times 3 equal. We call it this. This is called the Mara. In Kinyarwanda we call it Mara. So how can we display now a multiplication table of any number using do while? Okay, do while. Iyi niyo twita Mara mu Kinyarwanda. Tugiye gukora Mara y'umubare uwo ari we wose dukoresheje C programming, sibyo? This is Mara mu mibare, mu mibare. Okay, now we are going, of course, to start with variables. The first variable is a number. We will be in a need of a number. Okay, then we will need a counter. A counter, of course, a counter will start from 1. These are the variables. Okay, Then we want a user to enter a number. We will be asking a user to enter a number. Okay, please enter any number. Please enter any number. That is a statement which will be displayed to the console. Then we want a user to insert a number using scanf. Okay, using scanf, we want a user to enter a number. Of course, a number is an integer. We use percentage %d. Then we provide the memory location of that integer, which is a variable that we have created up here, which is called num. And here variable nyine twa create inzara hejuru. And then we want to use do what? We want our program to do this statement before checking the condition. What is the statement? We need to printf, okay, printf semicolon. Then we need what? We need the user to enter a number. The number here, percentage %d, times another number, then to provide also a number. Then we use the /n because we will be looping. Now, what are the number that we will be using here? We will be taking a number which is generated by a user, that is num. The user will provide this number. Then we will use a counter I. Okay. Then we will do what? We will take the number provided by the user times the variable that is looped. Okay. If the user enters 1, this number will be called 1. 1 then times the first loop. The first loop is 1, maybe the second one is 2, the third one is 3, and so on. This counter will be changing from 1 up to the specified condition. Okay. Then we need our counter to be incremented. How? By I++. We need a counter to increment on each iteration, on each repetition. Okay. Then after this, we set what we call now a condition. What is the condition? This is now while. Then we set a condition. What will be the condition? While our counter which is I is less or equal to 10, we want the program to print the above statement, but it will end once this condition is fulfilled. This means if a user enters 4 for example, okay, the I will be starting from, okay, the condition. Let me show you this. The condition says that we please enter the number. This is a statement which will be displayed to the screen of the user, and the user will be entering a number. Suppose the user enters 1, 4 or 1. Let me say 4. Okay. Suppose the user enters 4. Okay. Now, what will be the first block of code that will be displayed? We will have 4, which is entered by the user, times I. Okay, times I. This is I. Okay, sorry, I wrote 1. This is I. Okay, times I. Okay, I is initiated. We have initialized I as 1 times 1. Okay, this is num equal I times num. This is 4. If a user enters 4, then times 1. Bivuze ngo iki? Umuyuza nashyiramo kane hano hejuru izahita yikuba na I kandi twainitialize nkaho ari rimwe, sibyo? Then iguhe kane. Noneho iyi I izahinduka ko niyo condition dufite, ni counter yacu. Condition iyi I yacu izakomeza ihinduke kugeza igihe izaba ingana cyangwa ingana n'icumi cyangwa iri munsi y'icumi. This means the first loop will be 4 times 1, then we will increment. Iyi I izaba incremented ibe kabiri, then tugire kane ya variable umuntu yashyizemo dukubye kabiri biduhe 8. Okay, iyi yongere iyi I yacu, then our I will be incremented ibe, it will be 3. Okay, then the variable will be also there, the variable will be there. Okay, 4 times iduhe 12, right? 12. Then this variable will be incremented until it reaches to 10. This means the last variable will be 4 times 10, which is 40. So for those who have studied mathematics, you know this multiplication table. Okay, now let's see how this works. Let's compile our program. Let's compile. You will bear with me the machine and kugenda gahoro. Then we are requested to enter a specific number. Let us say 4. Okay, if we hit the enter, you see 4 times 1 equal 4, 4 times 2 equal 8, 4 times 3 equal. Okay, the first one variable is not changing. The first number here is 4. It is not changing because this is the variable, the value which will be provided by the user. Now I here will be checking until it reaches this condition, which is saying that I is less or equal to 10. That's why we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. Okay, this is how we create a multiplication table with C. Okay, you can change the number. Let me say, for example, a multiplication table of 8. If I say, you see, it will be calculating the table will calculate 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3 until I is equal to 10. So that is a program in C which calculate the numbers. Ibyo twitaga mara mu mibare murabizi, ku banyarwanda murabizi ko twabikoraga tukiri muri za primaire aho byaduteshaga umutwe cyane, ariko murana ko with C programming you can create a program that can assist you to check the multiplication table. Now reka dukore noneho another okay, but this can be now exercise. Let me give you an exercise. You create a program. Okay, create a program which shows a menu until user enters 0 to exit. Okay, on your side you try to create a program that shows a menu of, for example, a specific restaurant, and then click to exit once the user is okay. He will enter 0 to exit the program. So this is now a program that you will do. That one is an assignment. Okay, good. Now